René Pérez Joglar was born on February 23, 1978 in Haito Rey, San Juan. He was raised in a working middle-class household with his father, a lawyer, musician, and activist, and his mother, a Puerto Rican actress. Growing up, he expressed heavy interest in music, art, and sports. Though he was gifted in his areas of interest, he was forced to decide between his love for baseball and art as he transitioned into his college career. Ultimately, he decided to follow his love for art and attended both Escuela de Artes Plásticas in San Juan for his bachelor's and received his master's in fine arts at Savannah College of Art and Design on scholarship thanks to his impressive portfolio. After moving to Europe for a short period to find a job and ultimately failing, he returned to Puerto Rico and worked as a graphic designer for architects. Though he was well qualified and eager to work, he found himself battling with the economic pressures just to feed, clothe, and maintain himself. In order to cope and express himself during this everyday life struggle, Joglar went back to his roots and began making songs with his stepbrother, Eduardo Jose Martinez, who he'd known since childhood, and would later go by Visitante once the band Calle 13 formed. Once Calle 13 saw their music begin to pick up a following on social media, they decided to take a plunge and commit to their musical craft. While independent, they had problems looking for record labels to back them until they finally landed a deal with White Lion in 2005, a year after they started recording. Within the first few years, Calle 13 was able to grow their following in an almost cult-like fashion, selling 350,000 copies with their first album, doing 105 independent shows once their 5-year contract with White Lion ended in 2010, and even winning 25 total Latin Grammys in several categories, more than anyone today. From his song Muerte in Hawaii, focusing on the mass killings of dolphins, to La Bala, centered on the abundance of senseless gun crimes, Joglar brings attention to various social issues from various backgrounds. In an interview with Telemundo Univision, when asked if Calle 13 will ever make music that diverts from their usual social justice topics, he responded that their music is, quote, influenced by what goes on in their environment. Being from a country where there's 20 different things going on, you have the obligation to make albums that don't just focus on the bullets. You have to tell the truth. More specifically, Joglar specializes on Latin American politics in unstable countries, especially Puerto Rico. In fact, in 2009, Joglar insulted the Puerto Rican governor, Luis G. Fortuño, at the MTV Latin Music Awards and criticized the government for its plan to lay off 17,000 state employees, according to New York Times. Joglar's first documented lash out against governing forces was his release of Querido FBI, before his first album with White Lion, and only 35 hours after Rios' murder. Here he criticized the use of lethal force of America's FBI against Filiberto Ojeda Rios in a mismanaged raid attempt. Rios being the leader of Los Macheteros, the most outspoken resistance group advocating for the independence of Puerto Rico from the United States at the time. Back in 2013, Joglar proclaimed, "My crime is to fight for the independence of Puerto Rico, for all human rights, and the release of Oscar Lopez, a Puerto Rican prisoner of war and activist for the liberation of Puerto Rico, who was later commuted back to Puerto Rico by Obama in 2017. One prominent song that highlights the devotion that Calle 13 and Joglar have towards voicing the struggles of the unheard and oppressed in Latin American countries is Latino America, released in their Entre los que Quieran album in 2010. Here, Calle 13 starts with the lyrics, "I am what they left. I'm all left over from what was stolen. A town hidden at the top. My skin is leather. That's why it can withstand any weather." The message of overcoming the grim reality of Latin American past and future and having pride in the everyday life built on this struggle is echoed within the chorus. "You cannot buy the sun. You cannot buy the rain. You cannot buy my happiness. You cannot buy my pains." One of the most important reasons I personally think his work as an artist, figure, and overall humanitarian is important is because he appeals to the youth. Joglar is more than just a catchy pop star who blew up with his witty and unique rapping style. Joglar, along with Calle 13, is deemed one of the first major groups criticizing Latin American politics of this time. For a whole generation, Calle 13 is more than just the artist your parents don't let you listen to. He's a beacon of hope for the future, where the modern reality is too dark to see past the war, famine, political corruption, and any other means that prevent equality and general welfare.